The Beast of Harwood Forest by Dan Smith. Read by Peter Pearson. Published by Barrington Stoke.
The Beast of Harwood Forest by Dan Smith. Narrated by Peter Pearson. Chapter 1. Danger of Death. Pete Brundle felt as if he'd been on the coach forever, crushed in with an entire Year 8 class of bored and sleepy kids. On one side of the narrow road, purple heather and yellow gorse bushes stretched over the hills for miles. On the other side, a huge forest of towering spruce trees crowded in, looking as if it might take over the world. Pete was reading his graphic novel, Beowulf, for the 4th time since they'd left the village of Crooked Oak. He'd just reached the part where the hero, Beowulf, was fighting the monster Grendel in the Great Hall. Grendel was disgusting in the picture, all teeth and wild hair. As Pete imagined himself battling the beast, he looked out of the window and spotted some derelict buildings. They were hidden among the trees, half collapsed and overgrown with ivy. The edge of the forest was lined with a low fence of barbed wire. Attached to it was a sign hanging at an angle. It read, "Keep out. Property of MOD. Danger of death." As the coach drove past, Pete turned around, but the buildings were gone, hidden by the trees. All he saw were a couple of magpies flying up into the evening sky, as if something had disturbed them. "Whoa," said Pete. "Did you see that place?" Sitting beside him, Pete's best friend Krish looked up from his phone. "See what place?" said Krish. "There were some old buildings back there," Pete told him, "like something from a film about the end of the world." Pete leaned forward to get their friend Nancy's attention. "How about you?" he asked her. "Did you see it?" Nancy was sitting in front of Pete, beside her friend Erin. "No, sorry," Nancy said, as she turned around to look at Pete. "But have you seen this place? It's going to be an awesome trip." Nancy's pale blue eyes gleamed as she showed Pete a map of Heathland Camp on her phone. "They've got a massive zip wire called the Leap of Faith, and their own high ropes course. There's archery and—" "It's a geography field trip," Krish said, staring at his phone again. "Yeah," Erin agreed. "Not an adventure holiday." "I'm looking forward to the night walk," Pete told Nancy. "Look, I've got a torch." He put down his graphic novel and pulled a head torch from his rucksack. It was just a small lamp fixed to a headband, but Pete held it as if it were precious. "Looks a bit old," Nancy said. "Does it work?" "It was my dad's," Pete replied. "I found it in the garage with some of his old stuff from when he used to go camping." "Oh," Nancy said. She didn't know much about Pete's dad, except that he wasn't alive anymore. "It'll be really spooky," Pete said, as he fastened the head torch around his mop of blonde hair. "Out there at night, on the moor." "It's a heath, not a moor," said Erin. "Erin's right," Krish agreed. "Heathland is fairly dry, with heather and gorse, and moorland is wetter, with peaty soil." Pete and Nancy looked at each other, then burst out laughing. "What?" Krish asked. "I googled it." "You're such a nerd," Pete said. Krish rolled his eyes and looked back at his phone. "The signal's awful out here. They're updating the Mystery Shed tomorrow, and we'll miss the new videos." The Mystery Shed was their favourite website. It was full of videos and stories about weird and bizarre things around the world. "Ugh," Erin said. "You three and your Mystery Shed. I don't know what you see in that rubbish. It's all made up, you know." "No, it isn't," Pete told her. "And you won't miss the new videos, Krish," said Nancy.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?